Hello everyone, I have a little confession to make. On this channel, I've reviewed a handful of remakes of British shows. Some have been mediocre, some awful, but they have always been on that side of the coin. Us and Them, the US remake of Gavin and Stacey, was first ordered as a 13 episode series to come out in 2013, but it was cut back to 7 episodes, and then Fox decided to just not show the series at all after it was all made. It eventually creeped onto the Crackle streaming service in 2018, but I don't think it is still there either. With that kind of history, you would expect me to say that this is a bad show, that it's terrible and all that. But actually, my confession is, I think I like this one. It's not amazing, and it certainly has its problems, which we will get into, but as far as remakes go, this is actually not so bad. It's alright. That's my grandiose summary of the show. It is alright. So, let's get into it. The first episode starts out in much the same way as the original series, with our two main characters, Gavin and Stacey, talking over the phone after having a long-distance flirtation for many months, arranging their first proper date. Stacy lives in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, and Gavin lives in New York City. According to Google Maps, this actually makes the distance they live apart broadly similar in terms of travel time to that of the original, which was between Billericay in Essex and Barry Island in Wales, of between 3 and 4 hours. The general cinematography of the show is quite good. Everything is filmed quite competently. I think they were going for more of a rom-com movie feeling, and that's certainly the vibe that the show gives off throughout most of its episodes. We then see our new version of Smithy, in this one called Archie. Oh my god. It's Donnie! Archie is an interesting character, as he starts off quite unlikable, but generally gets better as the series develops. At the start, he's portrayed as a sort of dude bro, crossed with Jonah Hill from Superbad.
Talking about before that, the first time I got you the magazine and I stood outside the door.
Wait, you stood outside the door?
That was guard.
That is super weird, dude.
That's what best friends do.
That's not what best friends do.
Which seems to be the general American trope for this kind of character ever since Superbad came out. As the show goes on, they generally seem to get more comfortable with his character and give him a few more layers, but he starts out quite annoying. And now we come on to Nessa. Again, at first, I really didn't like this version of the character. They made her overly coarse and boorish.
Okay, tonight in New York, if you see me getting too drunk and I start going all slappy, slappy, touchy, touchy, promise me you'll give me the sign. I think I like this guy, so if we do fool around, I want to remember it.
I'll try, but no promises.
This is one of the craziest things I've ever done.
It's pretty ballsy, Stace. Like the time I went through customs with a belly full of crack-filled condoms. And like me, you will have some residual pain, a few sweaty moments, and it'll all end in smiles.
Aw.
And she starts off like a parody of the original. I think they must have had real trouble converting this character over, because so much of the original is based on Ruth Jones' performance and the fact that she's Welsh. Take away both of those things, and what are you left with? A sex-obsessed foul-mouth is what this show seems to imply. That's how she starts off, but down the line, as they start to give her more of a character and deviate more from the original, it starts working better. They explore her issues with her family, explain why she is the way she is, and it starts clicking a little more. I won't say she becomes a good character, but she at least becomes bearable. So before they meet up, we're introduced to a few more of the characters. Stacy's family lives in a rural area in a huge house, and Gavin's family lives in the city in a huge house. This brings me on to one element that they didn't convert across very well, which is the complex nature of class in the UK. In the original, Stacy and her family are very clearly traditional working class, just getting by, living in an older small terraced house from an area that has faced deprivation in the way of support over the years. Gavin and his family live in a much larger house, probably a newer build, and whilst they are not middle class, they have enough money that they are more like new labour working class. These class divides in the UK are complex and run deep, and they weren't able to translate this aspect very well. Gavin and Stacey and Us and Them both live in big houses, seem to be comfortable, and the cultural differences between rural Pennsylvania and New York are not depicted as being as stark as those between Essex and Wales. It doesn't harm the show massively, but it does mean it has less to say, and the differences really come down to city rat versus country bumpkin, and they could have been living anywhere for those differences to be apparent. Uncle Bryn has become Uncle Brian, and this is going to be a running theme, and I think it explains why the show got cancelled before it even got off its feet, He starts off bad and gets better. When he's first introduced, he gives a similar speech around personal protection to Stacy that Uncle Bryn gave us in the original.
Right, thanks, but I don't need...
Stacy, listen to me. You are going into New York City to meet some boy you barely know. I'm going to show you how to use this. That way, if God forbid you come back all raped, I will rest easy in my bed knowing I did everything I could to prevent it. Now, come at me. Come and try to forcibly penetrate me. Yeah,
Uncle
look,
Brian, I'm
walking down Rape Street.
I'm not doing that.
Whoops, I dropped my library card.
Stacy Paula Pearson, you sexually assault your uncle right now.
Oh, that's
The problem here is Rob Brydon was able to portray this character with a sense of quiet innocence, and everything he said came off nice. This version, he starts off feeling like a creepy uncle that should be on a list somewhere, and this continues until later in the series, when through lots of subtle adjustments, he starts being the nice uncle that we all expect. So they meet up and arrange to go to a club. You'll notice a lot of the rom-com energy with this sort of nervous comedy that the show has.
Hi.
Hi. Hiya. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you thought I was doing one of those handshake and
Yeah.
hug things that cool people do.
It's just weird to finally see you in person.
Yeah,
Look, you have legs. Thank God.
there they are.
I mean, not that that would be a problem. I'd like to think that I could fall in love with an amputee. I mean, it could be great. I could carry you around in one of those baby Bjorn things.
They get along and have a little dance, which is quite sweet as they both come off a little dorky. There are a few moments here or there that made me laugh, like Nessa's tattoo and this bit when Gavin drives to Pennsylvania.
I was doing it to the horse.
Like the original, there's a scene where Archie is talking about what him and Nessa got up to the previous night. It's a weak scene, and in this first episode, really all the weakest moments have been the ones they directly copied over. Anything original tends to work out okay. It gives the impression that they started out with a script that was pretty much a clone, and ended up changing so much that by the end, the bits that remained from the original just stand out and don't work too well. I won't go into every episode in the 7 in detail, but I will point out some moments that I enjoyed or have something to say on. In the second episode, they arrange to meet up again and Gavin goes to buy condoms, and I thought this bit was actually quite funny.
Hook my boy up with some condoms.
Don't need a personal shopper for my penis.
I only have the big ones.
Not a problem, he's a quarter Italian.
Sorry, I can't do it.
What do you mean he can't do it?
Too much condom, not enough you. If it's too loose, you reproduce.
It's also in this episode that it's brought up that Archie is dating Lucy, who from the original was the character Smithy was dating of vague age that everyone kept making jokes about her being too young. That joke was always a very fine line to tread, and I don't think they had the knack to pull it off here. It feels more sketchy for some reason. Dave Coaches is in this one as well, but this time is a roadie, and Coaches is just his last name. There's a few other bits I like here, like this bit with a cyclist, and a bit where Gavin gets a corkscrew stuck in his arm.
Oh, my stars! Oh!
I will say in this show's benefit, it doesn't linger on jokes too long and moves on quite quick, which is nice to see. The episode ends with Archie and Nessa both covered in mud after having done it at the back, which isn't executed quite as well as the original. The next episode sees Gavin going to visit Stacy when he immediately crashes Gwen's quad bike. Oh yeah, in this one, Gwen doesn't make omelettes. Instead, she makes crafts and is somewhat more open, shall we say.
Stacy, no. You look like a whore.
Happy whore or sad whore?
Like a sad pot-smoking whore.
Archie stays with Brian on his tiny pull-out bed. This bit here made me chuckle.
Oh? What do you think?
Wow, you look like Lady Gaga.
They end up at a karaoke night where they sing Islands in the Stream in an homage to the original.
You do something to me that I can't explain. Hold me closer and I feel no pain. Every beat of my heart, we got something going on. Islands in the stream, that is what we are.
Stacy gets into a bar fight, which took me by surprise when it happened, but was quite funny to see the juxtaposition of her polite character getting into something like this. You'll notice that so far this series is moving at a slower pace than the original in terms of the characters' relationship. In the original, Gavin confessed his love to Stacy in the first episode and proposes in the second one. In this one, it's not until episode 4 until they even agree to be boyfriend and girlfriend, though it is done in quite a sweet way.
Hello, we're having a party, baby.
No, my girlfriend. Hello, Stacy?
Hello? Wait, Gavin.
What? I can't hear anything.
Gavin.
Oh. I think I messed it up on the phone with Stacy again. Sucks, man.
He just called me his girlfriend.
Nice.
I think they probably did this because they expected they would have quite a few more series to come and wanted to have those storylines of them getting married and moving in with each other for down the line. But since that didn't happen, we don't see that journey in this one. There is a funny bit in this one though, where they go to a Chinese restaurant but end up in someone's living room and have to save a chicken. The next episode sees them all doing a charity fun run in which Brian wants to race walk but immediately gets injured. Archie and Nessa spend the time eating barbecue and they insert the KFC line from the original, but it isn't done quite as well.
That's supposed to mean something?
I'm just saying, there's only one piece left. You can have it. If you want it.
Makes no difference to me. If I have it, it'll be a nice addition to the meal. If I don't, well, I'm pretty full as it is. Question is, Archie, do you want it?
I want it. I'm just worried that if I ate it now, I'd be expected to eat it all the time.
I wouldn't worry about that. Corn on the cob is a once-in-a-blue-moon treat, which once eaten is soon forgotten and won't be mentioned again to anyone.
The whole episode is based around Stacy wanting to tell Gavin about her previous engagements and Gwen trying to finish the race, which she eventually does by Pam insulting her over the finish line. Oh yeah, Pam is the mum from Malcolm in the Middle.
You cut your own hair! Rachel Ray showed me how to do it on the internet! Oh. And you look like an aging prostitute! Oh yeah? You have the sad, confused eyes of an inbred poodle! How dare you! You filthy city bitch!
In the next one, they go on a road trip to Lucy's college whilst Pam and Mick look for someone Gwen can date, and this bit did make me laugh.
Here's what's gonna happen. You are gonna fill this bag with poop.
And then you're going to spend the night with us.
They mess around at the college before we actually see Lucy on screen, who was always an enigma in the original. She rejects Archie and they give her a bit of a grilling, which comes off as a bit mean given the situation between them. There is a running gag in this one though, where Gavin and Stacey act like Archie's parents, which I liked.
Why are you smothering him?
I'm not. You only see him on the weekends for the fun stuff. I get him the rest of the time for the chores.
Give me a break. This is gonna be the best moment in Archie's life.
The other plot of this one is around Nessa's relationship with her father and how Brian and Gwen essentially raised her. This is implied in the original, but made much more explicit in this one, with Brian standing up to her dad and them exploring their fractured relationship. So, that was a bit of an overview of the series, but ultimately, I stand by my original thoughts that it isn't bad. It's not groundbreaking by any means. It's just a sort of gentle, romantic comedy with some sweet moments and some funny bits. It often falls down when it emulates jokes directly from the original, as they don't seem to fit this new style. When it does its own thing, I think it works. If this show had come out today, I think a lot of people wouldn't mind it. If it had been cut down to a 90-minute movie, I think it could have done even better. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this show is a hidden gem, but it's certainly better than a lot of the other stuff out there that's got way more exposure. I do hope they eventually release this again more widely, because I'd love to know what other people think about it if they got a chance to watch it. I don't think it's likely to happen, but you never know. Streaming services are always hungry for content. Alright guys, that was the video. Cheers for watching. Thanks to my patrons, and if you head over to my Patreon, you can see some exclusive stuff. I've just started a series watching the US version of The Inbetweeners. I also have some other channels and some socials you can follow on me if you want. Alright, goodbye.